On July 31st, Corvette went out and set a new record with the new Corvette, which was fantastic, right? Wrong. No. Bad. Okay, they wwent out, they brought the Z06, the ZR1, the ZR1X, and they set some absolutely asinine records. The Z06 set a 7-minute and 11-second time. The ZR1 set a 6-minute and 50-second time, and the ZR1X, surprisingly, only set a 6-minute and 49-second time. Only, Alex? Only? Okay, listen. The price tag between the ZR1 and the ZR1X only being a second, we're gonna get into that. Okay, what are you doing? But then I went to the most unopinionated place in the world to see what people thought of this incredible feat. This should be well received by everyone on the internet. I decided to go to Reddit. Now, I'm not here to talk about how Corvette sent engineers to drive these cars versus professional race car drivers. Honestly, I think that's a really good marketing thing. That's just like properly insane, and it's just gonna show you how froggy these cars actually are with anyone that has like $500,000. Plus, Misha already did that. He told 1.8 million people that.
I will say that a professional race car driver from this area that knows the Nürburgring, from what I've seen on the lap, I think we can shave off another 10 seconds.
Now, personally, I'm more of a fan of like the old school Nürburgring days when like companies like, what do you say, Roof were setting records in loafers. Like, and I do want you to tell me if I'm tin hat foiling this, but something about all the Nürburgring records felt a bit off. And I wanted to figure it out if there's more to this than just the lap itself, because every single time I go out on the internet, anytime there's a sports car, there's almost always a mention of how did it do on the Nürburgring. Now, I love the loafer era, and you can tell me if you disagree, but I think the Nürburgring is creating this weird thing with car manufacturers, even though they tried to fix it back in 2019 and 2020. And I still think we're in a weird place. So let me explain. The history of the Nürburgring. Let's start off with the basics. In 1925, Germany built the Nordschleife, which translates to the North Loop, to help the impoverished get a job. It took about 3,000 people to make the 28-kilometer track/highway thing. And over the last century, every single vehicle manufacturer has used this thing to put its extracurricular on the table and say, not bad, right? Like that's pretty good. But if you didn't know, Nürburgring records were defended with like a trust me bro attitude for a long time. It was like kind of like when you lied about how much your dad lifted when you were on the playground. Like, oh, your dad could lift 500 pounds? Well, my dad told me he loved me 3 times before I was 10 years old. You see, in the early 2000s, companies like BMW were starting to use the green hell, nickname for the Nürburgring, as like a brochure to push their cars. They used it for their M3 CSL. It worked really well. And over time, the rest of German car manufacturers started following suit. And by 2017, the Nürburgring launched something called an industry pool, where 30 or so OEMs and suppliers rent out the track for like up to 4 months out of the 12-month period just to test, brag, and play around with what sort of track times they could actually get. That was like a TikTok level element of information, and I hope you remember it, because the important thing to remember is that a lot of it was baloney! From 1990 to about 2018, companies were picking different lap layouts to claim their sub 8-minute lap time. The most popular one that most people used was the one that was coined by a man named Stefan Beloff that set it like a 6-minute and 11-second record back in like 1983 at the 1,000-kilometer qualifying race, okay? T13, my God, I can't speak, was established at the start-finish. But once they established the GP circuit, T13, that straight, was fenced off on weekday testing and tourist laps, which shortened the track, which manufacturers started to benchmark against. Then a German magazine cemented that shorter loop as the official benchmark time for drivers. Until 1999, when the public Touristfahrten made a third layout, and up until 2019, manufacturers used all 3 of these to set their lap times. Don't worry, I'll put pictures up because I'm a visual person too. I didn't quite understand it, and German words are long and scary and angry. And most people didn't really care about which one they used, because at the end of the day, all the internet and all car enthusiasts really want to brag about is how much horsepower they have and how fast of a time their car set around the Nürburgring. That's it. And that was kind of the thing. Like, the time was kind of ambiguously just like good if a company bragged about it, because then that just sold cars. By the way, please don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to help out on these videos. And if you're looking for car parts, you can help us out by actually supporting the brand behind this, what I started a few years ago with some friends, called martiniworks.com. It would mean the absolute world if you get your car parts from there. We have the lowest prices, all that sort of good stuff. It's actually what avoids avoids me from having to do other company inserts in my videos. So this one actually just goes right back to us. Small business in Wisconsin, it would mean the world. Martini Works. Now, when the 2008 Nissan GTR ran a lap record of 7:29, the German Ferrari company, nowadays known as Porsche, said, no way. There's no chance that happened. Porsche actually ended up buying a GTR. They brought it over to Germany and they couldn't match the times. They cried foul play. So Nissan did what Nissan always does, kind of like what Toyota did with GM, and they said, hey dude, do you want to come over and we'll give you driving lessons in our car on how to set that lap time? And it created this entire drama scene between, did the Nissan GTR properly beat a GT2 Porsche that was 3 times the price? This was mega back in the day. This is a real story, by the way, because that did in fact happen. Nissan was actually, they were really in the fuck around and find out kind of attitude back in the 2000s, and then the CEO got put into a box and jumped out of Japan. That's a whole different story. Anyway, if you think people are dramatic on Love Island, car enthusiasts are the same way, just with people insisting that they have no idea on why Serena Page won Love Island. I don't understand that. It's the same reason why Porsche didn't believe that a GTR could get the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and like 29 seconds. And the back and forth happened pretty much everywhere across every type of car manufacturer. So in 2019, the Nürburgring launched something called the Record Drives Protocol. Kind of sounds like a Marvel thing from like Age of Ultron era. Now the goal here apparently was to chill out on the finger pointing, and it allowed manufacturers to start operating under a fixed baseline of rules, which meant a fixed distance of the 20.832 kilometers with a flying T13 start finish, calibrated timing ran by track staff, and signed off by an on-site notary public. Scrutineering on the car both before and after the car logs the lap, along with a confirmation of the VIN, the weight, the tires, and the safety gear, and the established categories to start pinning SUVs against SUVs, prototypes against prototypes, and street cars against street cars, and production cars. We're gonna get into that because the ZR1X technically wasn't that in Germany. It was a prototype due to it not being available in this configuration. Besides the point, nobody cares because the time is all that matters. You can't reset! And like a school reset teacher that no one fucking likes, we all stopped fighting on the playground. Or at least that's what we think. Because the Neo EP9 from 2017, that record was no longer really a record. It was more just like a personal best. The WRX STI Type RA NBR Special that ran a 657 that Subaru used to say that their STI was really fast on the road didn't count. No part of that thing was production at all. The Civic Type R, the FK8, ran a 743. Okay, that was insane. Honda told the Ring that they just deleted the rear seats and audio system, but then they said that the cage's weight balanced it out, so it was approved. I don't even know how you can get something like that approved in terms of regulations, but it worked back then. So now the self-policing went away, and you have Corvette bringing up people like the vehicle dynamics engineer Drew Cattell earning a 649 lap time in a 1250 horsepower Corvette. Dynamics engineer for the ZR1 project Brian Wallace set a 650. You had Adam Link running a 711 as just the performance manager of Corvette. That was insane, right? And it felt like, okay, all the rules are the same, everybody's good. But then I found out you can still skirt the rules, because as long as like the kit, trim, or package is available from the factory, it technically still counts as a production vehicle, even though only 3 people might buy it and the $40,000 track package is absolutely unrealistic. And if you don't believe me, check this out. In 2019, Renault made a carbon package that included a rear seat delete, carbon fiber seats, 19-inch carbon wheels that were 4 kilos each, and carbon ceramic brakes that were 390 millimeter brakes, Olin coilovers, and a custom compound tire derived from Bridgestone just to set a lap time record at the Ring of 7:45. That was their only purpose for it, and then they made it a trim that you could buy at a dealership. Porsche in 2021 made a Manthe kit to set a 643 record, which cost 95,000 euros on top of a GT2 RS price to give you 4-way coilovers, mag wheels, bigger brakes, and an aero package that quadruples the downforce of the car. The car's already like $400,000. The Plaid's track pack for the Ring, same thing. The Dodge Viper ACR came with a 1.9 meter twin element rear wing to help stabilize the car just for the straights on the Ring. And technically it all counts because Bob can buy it out of a parts catalog. If a component carries an OEM part number, the Record Drive scrutineers treat the car as stock. And if the company has deep enough pockets, they can work with companies like Michelin, Bridgestone, Pirelli to make custom compounds to put on the trim cars and then sell them at the dealership to stay compliant. It's where the Cup 2 our stuff starts coming from, Michelin especially, because they love making sticky tires. I love the idea on how fast production cars are getting, but it's equally scary that anyone with this amount of money can actually do this, because frankly, some people shouldn't be responsible for riding their own bicycle. And I'm sure my audience, you guys are definitely looking at your future cars and saying, what did they do at the Nürburgring? You know, as a way to justify your purchase. I totally see that. That's why I'm making this video, because I want to help you make an educated decision. So yeah, the ZRX-1 is rad and the ZR1 is cool and the Z06 clocked its time, but there's also a $31,000 add-on package to the car to make it do what it did. All right, it's still a banger deal, but it's still not the same thing that you would get for like a $50,000 Type R, right? So what's the best value on the ring? If you are looking for what car really is going to give you the best value based on the Nürburgring performance, without any of the marketing pizzazz, without any of the side sauce, without any of the special compounds and carbon ceramic brakes and all that sort of stuff, I, my friends, have the car for you. It's a car that you forgot existed. It's a car that you really don't think of until you hear it. It's the kind of car that you wonder when you Google it, why is it still the same price that it was when it was new? And that, my friends, is an Audi RS3. It's set like a mid-7 time. They're sick as f. They're all-wheel drive. They got some front-wheel drive bias. Max Verstappen hates front-wheel drive cars. That's fine, but all-wheel drive RS3, super fun car, good around the ring, good with your wife, and if you got a kid on the way, as long as the feet don't have to go behind the front seats, you should be fine, because there's literally no space for you to put your legs in that car. But besides that, I got really hyper-fixated on this for some reason, and I don't know if anyone cares, but that's why the Nürburgring is the way that it is, and why I think you're seeing so many weird trim packages come from vehicle manufacturers nowadays. I don't think it has much to do with telling people that they can use this track pack at a place like Road America. I think they're literally just making it so that they can go run the ring, kind of meet the credentials of what makes it legal, slapping it on the ass, and then selling them for $500,000. Do whatever you want with that information. I don't know what I'm even gonna do with this information. We're gonna put it in the back of the log and hope that I never have to use it again. But I'm going to Monterey Car Week, and if you guys wanna see content on that, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, if you're looking for car parts, MagikartMartiniWorks.com. I'm sorry that I hyper-fixated on this, but it's so good to see you again. I miss you. Thank you so much for the love on the racing school. We're gonna be doing more racing on this channel as well, especially as we get into the fall, which I'm really excited for. And I apologize for only making shorts for so long. It's tricky, you know? Sitting down, talking to you, a camera with no face, opinions, eye color. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. All right, I'll see you later. Goodbye.